10x your service design offering with Smaply. Take 20% off any order with This Is HCD 20 off. Let's superpower you and your design team's potential. Sign up at smaply.app. Enjoy the episode from your friends at Smaply, helping support This Is HCD podcast.
Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of This Is HCD. My name is Gerry Scullion, and in today's episode I'm joined with the wonderful Jaclyn Suzuki, co-founder of Insights and Innovations agency in the US called MADO, and to dive into the most fascinating research projects I've seen in years. It's called The Shape of Play, and it was a global study commissioned by Mattel. We'll know them from the toys that they've created from my childhood, exploring how and why we play. In this episode, we unpack insights from 33,000 people across 7 different countries, revealing not only how play is evolving, but why it matters more than ever. So here are the 3 key takeaways from this episode. So play isn't just for kids. It's a powerful antidote to modern stress across every stage, from toddlers to seniors. There are 6 play personalities derived from the study, which I think is going to be really interesting for us to listen and learn. And that is the skill seekers to memory makers, helping us understand how different people find joy, connection and well-being. The leading brands like Mattel are working in the open, sharing research to help advance how society thinks about creativity. I think that's a fantastic way to really think about the research that we do as a community. They lean into the community and the emotional health aspects of this work too. Now, we also touch on digital play, the future of family rituals, and the incredible cultural differences and similarities that show up in homes from Finland to China and the US. If you're a change maker, educator, or designer working to make the world a better and more human-centered place, this really is a must listen. And hey, if you want to kickstart a human-centered service design approach in your organization, please don't forget to sign up for my free 5-day email course. The link is in the description, or you can just go to thisishcd.com and learn more. Now, let's jump in straight into this episode. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from and what you do.
Sure. Yeah. I am a founder and director of MADO, and we are an insights and innovation strategy agency out of Portland, Oregon in the States. We help brands understand change, basically. And so that's like cultural shifts, cultural trends, as well as shifting consumer needs, and use that analysis to identify opportunities to serve people better. So innovate in a human-centered way. And I've been running MADO with my business partner for almost 8 years. Before that, I was creative director at Ziba Design, global agency, and I had the opportunity to work and live in Tokyo for a couple of years. My son was born there. I inherited this I married into this awesome name that the design community loves. And let's see, before that, I had kind of a hybrid background. I studied engineering, and I have this love for the technical and the logical, but I also studied fine art and love that creative design sensibility, and try to marry the two in the projects that we take on. And I think that's where the interesting things happen, when those team members can mix across those lines.
Now, you actually reached out, and we got these kind of, I wouldn't call them spammy, but a lot of PR people add me to these lists about getting guests on, and I was like pleasantly surprised when I saw your email come through, and I read through it, and it was about Mattel. And the kind of studying of maybe the change of play, and I guess that's what we want to talk a little bit more around today. So tell us about the project and how it came about.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a dream project. It was great. We had great partners. It's called The Shape of Play. And it's a global study about how and why people of all ages across the globe play. A fun topic and an important topic, and that was cemented for us after we went out into the field and learned from people, which I'm happy to share as many insights as I can.
Tell me, so I was waiting for the first insight to come out.
Okay, well, I was gonna just roll right into it, but I didn't know.
Basically, in the email, we were talking about, I think there was 33,000, is that right?
Yeah.
Participants? Could that be right?
Yes, that's right. So Mattel has a state-of-the-art play labs, a network across the globe, and they study how kids and people play with toys, and it is embedded into their product design process, and it's incredible, amazing. But this project was a little bit different because they wanted to get a broader view of play outside of their portfolio of toys and just this larger sense of what is going on. And so we really wanted to have the scope and the breadth to really make sure we were picking everything up. So 33,000 people, that was across 7 countries. And then we also conducted interviews in homes, in over 20 homes in 3 countries. And we're able to mix kind of quant qual, and we did some expert interviews as well, some foresight lens, to build this perspective on play. And at the highest level, it's just today there is so much stress, and that shows up in 2-year-olds, middle schoolers, young adults, seniors, like across the whole spectrum. There's stress, and it's concerning. And what we found were people were kind of reinventing how they come to play in order to offset that stress and create like a healthy balance in their life. And so it really was evolving. I think in the past, play has been maybe for children or for recess or for certain times and occasions, right? And what we saw was it's morphing. It's becoming a little bit more. You can inject a moment of play here or there in the day. Different new things are considered play. We learned almost 50% of folks consider organizing a form of play.
So let's take a step back to the brief, I guess. What was Mattel looking to get out of this study? What was their objectives?
Great idea. Great question. Mattel was looking to get insight into where culture's headed, where people's needs are headed, so that they could better meet them in new spaces, with new products, moving into new categories, really to help shift and evolve their brand as a whole, which is a major goal and signals like a real true curiosity, I think, of the organization, which is nice. And then there was the second goal too, which was from the onset. Kudos to the Mattel team. They wanted to share this. They knew they wanted to share this work publicly and have it be something that not only inspired their employees and their designers, but outwardly inspired the public, inspired their creative partners, outside of their walls, teachers, policymakers. And so, I mean, this is something I wanted to talk about with you, is I think today the leading brands really share their cutting edge research, right? And they're looking to advance the category as a whole, or their, society as a whole, through sharing their intelligence and helping kind of rise the tide for everyone.
And work in the open, yeah. Right. I love it. I love all the premise of working in the open. So that report is that public now? Because I know when we were emailing, there was an embargo on it. It is public.
It's public, yeah.
When I looked, I was unable to obviously kind of
Okay.
find out more. But
I'll send it to you.
So talk to us about the activities that went around the actual conducting of that research. You mentioned you had to go to 3 different countries. Which countries were those?
Yeah, we conducted research in the States, in LA, and then we went to China. We went to Shenzhen, and the third country we debated for a while, but we landed on Finland. It had just been named the happiest country for the 7th year in a row.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to.
That made them happy. Boom.
Proud. We wanted to, understand the connection between play and happiness, and it was a really, really unique perspective there.
And what is the connection? Just that's the sort of thing that I mightn't be able to come back to in the conversation. Was that included in the initial brief? Is that something that Mattel care about? Making the connection, or is the connection there between happiness and play? Like, maybe define what is the connection, I guess.
Yeah. It was not in the original brief, so our team worked with the Mattel team to identify a framework. I think we started out with a hypothesis framework based on trend research, around the kind of the psychological underpinnings of the meaning of play.
Yeah.
And we knew happiness was in there. When we came out of the project, we had this play motivations framework, which was kind of our foundational framework. I have a little gamified artifact of it here.
Ah, nice.
This is why we play. And there's 4, basically joy and happiness is surrounding. It's all around. It's why we play. But beyond that, and we all know that intuitively, right? It's like when we play, we laugh, we smile, we just feel good. It's kind of inexplainable, and at the same time, it's intuitive and human, right? But beyond that, what we found was there's 4 kind of deeper reasons why people are drawn to play, and they're kind of unique to our time period. And so those are playing for well-being. And we heard people talking about playing as a way to heal trauma, to de-stress, to refuel, to go back into the realities of today, realities and responsibilities. We heard about people playing for growth.
Yeah.
And it was in a way that's beyond like educational play, right? But growing for like character development and leadership skills and emotional intelligence and some of the softer skills of what it means to grow as a person. And then we heard about play for connection to other people. And this was big. Over 80% of people across the globe agreed that play has the power to solve isolation and loneliness.
Wow.
And yeah, when we talked to people, it was like a really strong motivator to play is to kind of, screens are involved in a lot of play, but also it's a reason to kind of put the screen down and meet with people face to face. And I think because that is a little more rare today, it becomes more special and more sacred. So that was really powerful. And then the 4th big play motivation is expression. People play to express themselves and be creative, and that's always been true. But in today's time with technology and automation, and it also feels a little more special to be able to express our creativity in a playful, kind of low stakes, low risk way. So those are kind of the motivations surrounding the happiness theory.
And that's a great episode. Thank you so. Only joking. There's so much to unpack in that, and when you were speaking there, it just reminded me of something that happened on the weekend.
Yeah.
Where my youngest Sam turned 6, and usually there's a birthday party, and there was a birthday party, but in this instance he decided to have a day with us, and what he wanted to do instead was he wanted to go to this place in Dublin called Airtastic, and they do laser tag. I had not played laser tag. Well, how old am I now? I'm 21, so
do that math.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Two.
Couldn't be work. I'm going to look stupid now because I was 3 when I did laser tag last. I was probably like in my teens, and it was one of the best releases that I had in probably a decade. I reverted in front of my own eyes because I was playing against another birthday party. Everyone is probably like, I cannot believe I'm closing this. I was playing against another birthday party they were 10 and 11 years old. And I did not think that I was 45 like I am now. And at the end of it, I had to nearly apologize to that other team.
Did you just go full animal?
Yeah, I went like Jack Black kind of mode into it, like, tumbling around. And both my kids said I'm embarrassing, but we won't speak too much about that. But that release is something that I can completely relate to. That you're talking about a form of expression.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm really interested to ask you, because getting exposed to that project it's one of my dream projects. But why do you feel kind of fall out of love or fall out of just doing play like as part of their life? Because at the moment my kids, they didn't get as much a release out of it obviously as I did. They were like, yeah, that was good fun, and I was like, that was the best day that I've had in a long time. And it made me really stop and think, and I was like, actually, one, we need to do more of that as a family, and two, I was like, why aren't more people doing this?
I love that. And I honestly had the same feeling. I work with creatives in design, and I thought I was a playful person. And then doing this project, I was like, wow, but I haven't really made time for play. I'm busy. I'm a working parent. We're kind of in survival mode sometimes, right? At this middle-aged stage. So I think a lot of people feel that way. And although I do think we're seeing, compared to 20, 30 years ago, it's more socially acceptable, I think, for adults to play now.
Yeah.
You've got, and you've got pickleball. I don't know. That's like a mania here. I don't know if it's reached.
It's in Europe as well.
Okay. And yeah, we were really inspired. We got the chance to talk to 2 70-plus-year-olds in their homes, and the sense of play you can have at any age is just so inspiring, and it clearly is so rejuvenating and
revigorating,
and fuels longevity, right?
Absolutely.
And there are studies on that. So yeah, I think the seriousness and the competition of life kind of pulls adults away. I think there's a push, and this is interesting maybe for your design community to think about, for teens to retain some play and kind of carry that habit or appreciation through to adulthood, because the teen period is, well, it's stressful these days. And it's hard, and it's kind of like accelerated launch into adulthood, and I think teens kind of feel a sharp transition from child to adult.
There's no getting away from the fact that I think most people, especially if they've got kids at the moment, and I hate to make that disclaimer, but the world is definitely a lot more of a stressful place, with both parents most likely working these days to survive.
Yeah.
We all go through that ourselves, even in my own world. But finding space for it is one thing, but the bit that you mentioned there about longevity is, I think there's lots of research there to back that up, like in terms of that release. One of the questions I want to ask you was, do you feel that play is different if it involves exercise, or does it have to involve, like, is Monopoly the same as, and I use Monopoly just as an example, as a board game, versus me doing laser tag? Is there a difference with the kind of type of play, and also who you play with? Because like I was playing with kids there. If I was playing with my, not that I have a boss, but if I was playing with everyone who was a peer, and if I was working in a business, you kind of almost have to mask some of your childlike behaviors. So I'd love to get your perspective on those two things.
Yeah, it's I love that. Definitely changes what you get out of it, but I think what is interesting, and there are benefits of physical activity with play for sure. But I think what's interesting is that everyone seeks out kind of different qualities of play, and for different reasons. And what we found in this research was that there are 6 play personalities, kind of archetypes and attitudes towards play.
Right.
And
do you know what those archetypes are?
Yeah, those was really interesting. We have skill seekers who are more about challenge, competition, and self-improvement. And then we have curiosity cultivators, who, I've got some cards here.
Yeah,
curiosity cultivators.
You actually have a set of cards as well. The Mattel.
Yeah, we made a set of cards.
Well, MADO did the cards, did they?
MADO did the cards, yeah. So this is part of, I can talk about this later, but part of activating insights research is like gamifying the deliverables and letting teams play with the information, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was interesting is you think, playing for growth, those are the folks who like to gain knowledge through play. But there's actually 2 different types: the skill seekers, which are more of that self-improvement type of path. And so they probably like the strategy games like you're talking about with maybe chess or things like that, and really thrive on some of that, the conversation and the strategic angles there. The curiosity cultivators, though, are another mindset towards growth that is more intuitive and more of exploratory and wanting to be kind of able to discover things on their own. And it's more about knowledge about the world around them versus knowledge of themselves. Then there are the creative, the colorful creators, which are, don't want to assume all the design community is in that bucket, but maybe the most familiar to us as designers, the expressive, creative explorers. And then there are 2 that fall in kind of social play. One is the social sparklers.
Right.
All sparkly here. And they, you could think extrovert, meeting for a big volleyball game or pickleball game, really thriving on group competition, the social banter part of things, and the experience and the environment, maybe more event-based. But on the other side of the social play, you have memory makers. And the memory makers are folks that play for well-being and connection, and the way they see well-being is through the lens of social health and community and memory making and supporting one another. And so rituals around play, like family game night, would be really important for them.
So that's kind of like, I'm going to pigeonhole bridge night for people who are in more mature stages of life. It's probably not a nice way of saying it. They're so important to that life stage.
Yes, and we actually talked to an 8-year-old girl, Emerson, in LA, who was also a memory maker, social sparkler, and she said her play, the reason she plays is all about friendship and kindness. And she would FaceTime her friends to play Barbie with them, and it was all about kind of the relationship she had with her friend, but also the Barbies had with each other. And so it was like a way to strengthen relationships.
So how did digital gaming enter the conversation in this? Because Mattel typically, from my perspective of being 21 years old, when I was growing up in the 80s, Mattel were doing Action Man and all of these different toys, if you want. But I guess it's probably shifted. Like, obviously, I haven't stayed across Mattel's full catalog of toys.
Yeah, right. It's big. It's massive.
What kind of stuff are they doing now? There's digital in there.
Yeah, Mattel's got a lot of digital gaming in their portfolio. They're constantly working on the future technologies and experiences. But we saw digital come up. We didn't specifically, recruit for digital or make it our sole focus. So I think that would be an interesting project on and of itself. It did come up. I'm thinking about Charles, a 11-year-old we met with who liked to game and be online chatting with his friends while he was gaming, and that really gave him a sense of community. But also he was one of those skill seekers who's into the challenge of gaming, and so being able to kind of banter about the challenging aspects and the achievements that each other had was really important to him. He also designed video games himself, and he really liked architecting those experiences, thinking about the strategy behind the game he was creating. So we saw a lot of creation in the digital space. I think 50% of the folks we polled consider creating with AI a form of play.
Right, really?
Just a form of play, right?
I guess I do too, maybe. I hadn't even considered it. Like, I guess there's micro moments, I guess, in everyone's day, and it's kind of sad that could be my introduction of play in my life. It's interesting to see Mattel of obviously, I suppose, any toy company you're going to be looking at digital. But was there any difference between the quality of the benefits from digital to physical? I'd love to understand that a little bit more, because like parents here, they, I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but they'll probably be like, get off that screen, go in and play with your, whatever toys you want, like in the playroom. We have a playroom in our house we're lucky enough. What's it like? Did you get to hear any of that kind of perspective?
Yeah. Well, digital gaming is happening younger and younger. So digital gaming is the most common play activity starting at age 6.
Right.
To 60. And then 60 and above, it shifts, it downgrades in priority. But it is a really common mode of play. I think between 6 and 13, parents are really concerned about it. And so it's a tension. On the one hand, we heard benefits of the socializing and the community and the self-expression and identity part of it, playing with avatars, exploring expression. And on the other hand, it's, the off-screen in real life play experiences with other people, utilizing your physical senses, physical activity, have really big benefits and really critical to health and social health. So I personally push that more so with my kids. We're pretty, we got them a CD player so they would stay off of phones for a few more years.
Yeah. How old are your kids, Jaclyn?
8 and 11.
8 and 11. So not a bazillion miles away from mine. Mine are 9 and 6.
Oh yeah.
So we're going through that same stage as well at the moment. There's probably a lot to talk about, but the piece that I'm hearing, there's a correlation between a conversation I had with Professor Sonia Livingston, who's from the the London School of Economics. Yeah, if you have not listened to that episode, I cannot remember the other guest who was on that show as well. Forgive me if you are listening. It's about a year old, and we spoke about play and the mechanisms of play,
Oh,
and
great.
the advice that they gave to kind of the British government as regards mandates and so forth. But
Yeah.
one of the pieces that we spoke about in that piece around the digitalization of games and play was the closed network playing, and systems like the BBC ecosystem and even Minecraft were generally outperformed other kind of gaming platforms that were more closed and not open-ended. Was there something like in the research that really one spoke to that? And generally speaking, if you are going to allow your children to play online, what parameters should they be put around that? Around play? Because if play is the goal, if you want them to get into play, is it better to use digital as the only play versus none at all?
That is a hard position to be in. I hope not too many people are in that position.
But I guess just asking you yourself, Jaclyn, like, what are your thoughts on that?
That's a great question. I mean, unfortunately, this program didn't cover that so much. So I don't know if I can speak to it from a research point of view, but
that's okay if we didn't go into it. I saw a photograph recently that probably other people might have seen it as well on Instagram, of the play zone in a McDonald's, where it used to be soft play and bowls and all that kind of stuff, and now there was 3 screens and 1 child on the screen. Like, looking out there at the moment, is there anything that you can see that kind of correlates between children and playing and happiness? Is that something that you can see? If people allow their children to play online, is there a direct correlation between that child's happiness if they're only playing online?
It's a good question. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I think I would guess no. I would guess you would need a mix, and that would be the healthiest. And I think especially for the physical activity part and the social development part. But
absolutely. So let's go back to the research actually yourself. So you mentioned you went to China, and then you went to Finland, and you went to Los Angeles. So what was the big, or was there any shifts that you noticeably saw between the 3 different territories? Can you talk to them?
Yeah, great question. We were, I would say, to start off, we were kind of surprised by how overwhelmingly similar folks' perspective about play was across the globe. And so across those 3 countries and the other 4, the 7 total that we learned from in the study, wow, like people really were seeing similar values in play. These 4 big play motivations came out across. These play personalities exist across the globe, across ages and genders. They are kind of universal psychographics. But there were some differences for sure in culture and kind of even the history of play. I would say in China, just on average, a family home is a lot smaller than in the States. And so parents were really creative about the environments for play and where to store things, how to create, playful spaces in the home. We saw a mother install a giant chalkboard in the hallway so that her 3-year-old son could kind of, the way she put it was, I want him to be able to draw like kind of unbound from a paper, the edges of a paper. I want his play to be kind of this boundless, free type of time, which was so beautiful because she was talking about it and she was in a very small apartment. So that was a physical thing. Um, I'd say a mentality we saw in China were with the preteens, the parents were really protective of screen time, and there were really strict limits on tablet usage, and only, after everything else had been accomplished. So this amazing 11-year-old we spoke with in China played piano and really enjoyed piano and basketball as big forms of play, and then also digital gaming. And so, kind of an example where it felt well rounded for him. And I think part of that was because there were some limits on the gaming, perhaps.
Was there one of those three cultures that encouraged play throughout their full life, or was there any correlation between Finland's selection as being the happiest country in the world? What are the learnings?
Yeah, the team was very interested in Finland because it wasn't a outwardly exuberant expression of play and joy. It's a little bit more reserved. And as they talked to families, they kind of came to understand that it's just a core value. Yeah, play, of course. We play. That's of course just part of life. That's what we do. It's the right thing to do. It's a healthy thing to do. And it was just so integrated. So I'd say that country we saw where it was just really integrated, especially in childhood, it was very protected for children. And I think and adults seem to have a healthy relationship with play as well. Americans, I think, were a little more exuberant and maybe active in their play. There was a lot of sports, a lot of outdoors. I was going to talk about this before when you were talking about the qualities of play. Is the senses came up a lot, and play experiences that stimulate the senses, and that outdoor hiking, even just taking your board game in the outdoors and stimulating the senses a little bit. And so we talked to Mattel about toys that are more sensorial, and what does that mean?
I love it.
Yeah.
Was there and again, people, I encourage you to go look for this. We might be able to put a link to the report in the show notes. Yeah, great. One of the things that I've noticed with children, and I've run summer camps and stuff with kids before, and I've researched, but games that tend to have a winner at the end of it at certain age groups, where there's a competition element to it, tend to get a lot more emotional reactions. It's probably a nice way of saying they end up beating each other up. So is there an alternative way to play just for play's sake, as opposed to having that streak? Like even with Snakes and Ladders, a very common game that we play in our house, there's a winner. My boy hates to lose, so I'm like, oh yeah, that wasn't a 6, that was a 1. Oh no, I'm down the ladder again. Like, talk to me around that type of play. Like that's playing to win versus playing to play. Was there something in that?
I love that. That's a good call out. I think games used to be more about winning, and now if we look at the framework and the play personalities, you can see there are a couple play personalities that really, really do love that and seek that out, the chance to strive to win, even. But there's so much more, and so we're starting to see the rise of like cooperative games, collaborative games. When my kids were a little younger, there were more of these emotional intelligence, social intelligence games where we were just talking about feelings and and going through friendship scenarios and helping them learn in a fun, playful way about that, with no winner there. I think some of those creative, building games where we're building things together, world building is another good example of that.
It's funny that you mention world building games, because that's what my boy Sam wanted for his 6th birthday. He's been Minecraft, kind of mad without ever having played it. So I spent the $40 and I got it and I installed it, and I have another Mac downstairs. And I'm ashamed to say I can't really figure this one out. And I've actually hired a fifth class person who's probably about 10 or 11. He's a friend of the family, actually. And he's coming over next week to do an hour's session with me.
Amazing. That's a great idea.
And I'm going to pay him. Like I said, look, I'll pay you 10 euro to come
over. That's
awesome. But yes, some of these games are just so, like, I look at it and I'm like, I actually don't know what I'm meant to be doing here. Like, the disconnect is real between some of like, I'm trying to make the leap and I'm like, I actually don't know what I'm meant to be doing here, Sam. I'm flying. I'm digging. Is that what you're meant to do? Like, so for people who are like me, who are looking to get back into that world, is there anything in the report that really allows us to re-enter the play world safely without looking like an absolute plum like I do at times?
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, good for you for exploring and getting tutoring too. The report is full of new ideas to play. I think that is a big outcome. And that's for all of us, for sure. I think adults probably need it too, need the ideas. One of the things I liked about this project is it resulted in a toolkit, like I was telling you about with the cards, for the Mattel teams, and kind of originally designed for the design teams to activate, but it's been used more broadly, almost like an employee onboarding tool to get folks into just the world of play, which is this, concept that Mattel stands for and champions. And so part of that is to get folks talking about why they play. And, this is one of the games in the toolkit, is like spin the wheel and explore a concept, a type of play maybe you haven't before. So this was, this one we landed in play for connection. And part of play for connection is actually, it's about connecting with people in the present, but also with memories in your past. So we landed on visit nostalgia. And the conversation prompt here is, describe a scent that returns you to a happy childhood memory.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if do you have one?
Are you asking me? Probably the smell of my mother baking bread. To be honest, it's the smell of bread. Like, I always kind of like, my mum used to bake Irish soda bread. Yeah, what about you, Jaclyn?
Yeah, that's a good one. I might say grass, freshly cut grass. We just your basic
just cut grass.
Lawn. We did a lot of like tumbling in the yard, a lot of grass stains on our clothes and as kids.
Nice.
So
that's another one as well. Like, that's pretty cool. Jaclyn, it's a fascinating area. Like, we've had a couple of people on speaking about play over the last couple of years. This sounds like it's a must read, though. I have to say, I will find the link, or if you send me the link,
I'll send it to you.
Or the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be below in the description. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it's going to be in the show notes below. If people want to follow up with the kind of work that you do, MADO, what's your website and what's the best way for people to reach out and stay in touch with everything you do?
Absolutely. Our website is lookwithmado.com. And reach out on LinkedIn or through the website. Jaclyn, my email's jaclyn@lookwithmado.com. I'm happy to talk about approach to this program or ideas for you all.
Absolutely. And just before I wrap up, just to show how small the world is, okay, I asked Jaclyn beforehand, I said, how did you hear about us? And they were like, well, my daughter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Daughter, and Lucy Flores' daughter went to preschool together. So there you go. I'm just saying a big shout out to Lucy Flores, and indirectly to Rachel Deacus as well, who connected me to Lucy.
There we go.
There you go. It just goes to show how small the world is amongst all of us who listen and are on the show as well. But look, Jaclyn, I wrap every episode up on This Is Hate CD, but thanking their guests for coming on. It is a little bit more kind of daunting when we don't have a script or any of that kind of stuff. All of these episodes are unscripted. We go live and we just, let our curiosity follow us through the conversation, which to me always delivers the best results. Jaclyn, thanks so much for your time. It has been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Chat to you soon.